So we're live at PAX right now, PAX East, and we just finished up our day. What did you think? First impressions?
For me, this is my fourth PAX East and my fifth PAX overall. This was kind of a different show, different vibe than what I was typically used to. Got to see a lot more of the show floor and do a lot more hands-on with games that that previously I would kind of tend to focus on some of the higher profile games, but for me, like as handheld gaming has continued to explode, so much more exposure here for that sort of thing, and it's really great to just see a lot of successful games that have been around a while and at the same time get a feel for some of the new stuff that's coming up.
Great. So we're just going to put together some clips and show you guys some of our adventures here, and I want to thank Henry Smith from Spaceteam because he actually rescued us from our demise in our last show.
Yeah.
So this is where we ended up, right here, when we exploded. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I don't know if I have anything else to add, but I think I'm going to go back to play some free arcade games for the next hour. What do you say?
Sounds like a deal.
Hi, I'm here with creator of Spaceteam, Henry Smith. Now, how you doing, Henry?
Good, thanks.
So now you have a pretty big history behind you. You worked at BioWare, you worked on such games as Mass Effect and Dead Space. And what brings you to this new venture of Sleeping Beast Games?
So I've always had side projects on the go while I was at BioWare. And I just decided I want to spend more time on them and give it a try. So I saved up money for a few years. And then I waited until my work on Mass Effect 3 was finished, because I was pretty committed to finishing that game, and it was also my sabbatical became due because BioWare has this really cool sabbatical policy where after 7 years of working there they give you some time off with pay, and so I decided to take a year off basically to make games and try to be sustainable doing it, and I'm now 6 months through that, and Spaceteam is my first game. I'm hoping to get at least one more out, and it's quite possible that my money will run out at the end of that after another 6 months, but then so I might just go back to BioWare or look for another opportunity. But I'm really hoping to be able to make enough money to support myself with my own games.
What made you decide? You took a pretty bold risk going with a multiplayer-only format on a mobile device, which is pretty unheard of. I mean, just multiplayer-only games you don't see very often, especially on a mobile platform. It does work on Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So what made you choose to go that route?
Well, when I first quit my job, I was excited about a different project that was much more ambitious, but I decided that it would be pretty silly to start with such a huge project. So I forced myself to start small and make a really simple design. I'm a big board game fan, so I wanted it to be a cooperative, board game-like experience. I wasn't really expecting to make money from it because it was just going to be a practice project so I could learn iPhone development. And I was never going to charge for it at all until a few weeks before I released it. I realized that it was other people might actually enjoy this game, so maybe I could make a few bucks from it. And so I started putting in the upgrades. But no, I mean, the reason I saved up enough to last for a year was so that I could work on the games I wanted to do without worrying about whether they were going to make money. So yeah, the original idea was just going to be free to get my name out there and get me some experience.
Would you say you're surprised by the reaction you're getting from the game, or is this kind of what you sort of hoped it would happen, or?
Absolutely, I was blown away, overwhelmed by the reception in the press and by the people who have come to the booth at PAX here. Yeah, it's amazing. It was just supposed to be a small practice project that I would finish in a month or two, and then get going on my real game. And so yeah, it was amazing. I mean, we had fun building it, and so I knew it was a super. I was lucky to have stumbled on this idea. But I had no idea what the reception was going to be like. So yeah, I'm really overjoyed.
Now we featured the game in our show last week, and we had a blast playing it. But I have to say I ran into an issue where maybe my partner was kind of dead weight. But the problem is I didn't know if it really how do you know? Because when you finish the game, it compiles the stats as a team. So it's totally team-based. But say there is someone who's kind of dead weight and you kind of want to jettison them out of the ship. Is there any way to really know who the bad teammate is?
Well, you have to work together as a team. There are no bad teammates. I mean, if your team doesn't work well together, then then maybe you can do better next time. But I don't want to single people out and say. But the game does. Having said that, the game does judge you individually, your individual performance, and gives you a medal based on something you did particularly well or particularly poorly. And it's intentionally ambiguous. So you can kind of tell from the medal descriptions, but I won't say more than that.
And I also noticed that it has some interesting words in the game. Like you kept everything purposely a little complicated to make it more challenging to the players. So things like the pizzle point and, you know, little humorous things like caramelize the onions. And did you come up with those words yourself, or did you brainstorm with the community or something? Like what made you come up with those kind of creative sounding words?
So the Star Trek like technobabble was pretty integral from the start. I already had this random name generator for like generating galaxy names, solar system names and stuff for another game I was working on. And so I kind of repurposed this. Once I had the idea of these panels and controlling a spaceship, I repurposed that name generator for the technobabble. So yeah, there are word lists with prefixes and suffixes, and it randomly composes names together. And then I handpicked, filtered it, and massaged it so that the names sounded, you know, funny enough and tongue twisty enough. And then I added the mundane actions like wash dishes or entertain dignitaries. As I was developing the game, just every day I was sitting in a cafe or I was in the shower or something, I'd think of a new one and write it down, add it to the list. That was a lot of fun. Just coming up with the technobabble was a huge part of my enjoyment during development.
Do you plan on continuing to support the game, adding any upgrades or anything special?
Yeah, it's possible that I'll add some small upgrades, but for the most part, I think the ones I've added are pretty much. I think I've done what I wanted to do with Spaceteam. I'm exploring. I'm trying to do an Android version. There have been some issues with it, so I can't promise anything yet. But I really want it to happen, and I'm interested in localizing the game into different languages. I've had people like say I want to translate the game into Russian. I'll help you with the translation, and so I feel like I should take advantage of some of that stuff. But for the game itself, I think it already basically does what I wanted it to do. I've got it's critically successful, so I'm really happy about that, and I'm excited about working on my next game. So yeah, I'm gonna try and start working on the next game as soon as I can. But Spaceteam's still taking up quite a lot of my time right now, just preparing for these festivals and continuing to promote it, because it's still not making me quite enough money to pay my bills yet. But it's close, so I think just a bit of a push. Like if I can get featured by Apple or maybe the Android version will help that. Yeah, so it's very close. And but right now, if it doesn't get better, I can't quite afford to keep working on it. So yeah, I need people to buy upgrades.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, download Spaceteam for iOS right now. It's free, and make sure you support the game by buying the upgrades. It's a great team, great guy. Thanks, everyone. Wow, that was some really impressive camera work.
Very exciting.
Good job.
Thank you. Great job interviewing. But while we were there, obviously we saw a lot more stuff.
Yeah, all the big companies were there: Capcom, Sony, Xbox, Microsoft.
Yep, and Nintendo too.
Nintendo, yes.
So we spent a little time at the Nintendo booth.
Yeah, what was my favorite game at the Nintendo booth?
I think you were there just to see the Google Street
Wii Street View.
The Wii Street View.
That was like shining like a beacon. You know why it was so prominent? Because it was the only booth that no one was at.
Completely empty. It was like there was a path clear to that booth just for you.
And I had to find out what was Street View like on Nintendo Wii. But anyway, they did have a pretty cool Lego city set up where they were taking pictures. We could put on this little uniform and
Yeah, Lego City Undercover looked kind of interesting.
Game looked good. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a good original title.
Yeah, they didn't have anything really new to show off, but more like some recent, like the 3DS titles they were showing off.
Right. Yeah, people seemed excited about it.
Microsoft's booth, they draw me in. They had the surfaces set up, and I was kind of peeking to see what was going on. So the guy, I offered to test it out, and they had Candy Crush Saga as their demo game on the Surface, which not really something that wowed me.
Not your first pick.
No. But there was a lot of lines actually at that, so I didn't really try out anything.
Yeah, there was still a lot of Xbox activity. Nothing new about the new console, obviously.
No, Sony. I don't remember Sony having anything blockbuster to show off.
They were just promoting The Last of Us. That's their big title for PS3.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
So a lot of people lined up to check that out, but we weren't there to stand around on lines, so kept moving.
They did have that one game set up, Watchmen, but I was also behind like a curtain. You had to get in line to play.
Okay.
But I would say like of the big companies, Capcom probably had the biggest presence with the whole DuckTales remastered.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed by what I saw.
Yeah, it looked fun.
I mean, it's the same game pretty much, except with completely new art assets, and it looked like real animation to me. It looked like you were literally playing the cartoon. So I thought it looked, top notch.
Yeah, I hope it stays to the original game somewhat. But yeah, I mean, we checked out some of the smaller booths, smaller companies.
Yep.
Some indies. Anything stick out that was special or?
I mean, there was so much to see, right? It was the indie mega booth was probably my favorite part of the show floor, because you just didn't know what you were going to run into next. So to me, it was like the densest, most interesting part of the floor. The game that was not getting a lot of attention in the HATS production area.
Oh, all right. So they have this they're showing off Oregon Trail,
right? It's
been out already, but that's a big game.
Getting a lot of attention, right?
So I guess that was their showcase game, and then hidden in the corner. They have an arcade machine.
We caught an arcade in the corner.
Which was probably the only arcade machine or arcade machine in the whole floor. So that caught my eye. I wanted to know what was in it. But the funny thing was, right next to it, they had a computer set up, and it has a big cardboard covering the monitor, and it says, what does it say? Mystery game.
Top secret
mystery game. Arrows pointing to it.
Right here.
And what do? I walk right by it, and I play the...
We want to see what's on the arcade.
I want to see what's on the arcade.
Of course.
And actually, the game looked kind of silly and not that great, but it was pretty fun to play, collecting hats. So
I was intrigued. And they said it was a game that they made for...
So they did a little reverse psychology, maybe?
Well, yeah, definitely.
No one was really checking out the mystery game.
I guess it was such a mystery that people didn't know they should be looking at it.
But that was pretty funny.
But yeah, they seem to have a few things going on there, and definitely they said that they're going to bring that game out.
Yeah, they just said they did it as a little side project for a convention or a bunch of friends, and they're going to add some. It's only arcade only, which is unusual, but they're going to add controls and then release it to the App Store.
Touch controls, yeah.
Yeah, touch controls.
Yeah, so I guess apart from that, though, we took a look at some other games. I thought one of them stood out was Electric Superjoy. Yeah,
that had real big crowds. That, and part of it was probably because of the dubstep soundtrack.
Yeah, it had a good soundtrack and trippy visuals.
Yeah, the visuals looked nice. It's that silhouette type of cartoony pixel graphics.
Right.
That's probably going to be a pretty hot game for the indie market when it comes out.
Yeah. Another game that sort of caught my eye because of the visuals was They Bleed Pixels. And
that looked good.
I kind of like that look. It was sort of a very low res, very pixelated sort of platformer action game with a lot of violence.
Yeah.
They even put it in the title.
But it's pixel violence.
It's pixel violence. It's bleeding pixels. But something I'm gonna take a closer look at.
Yeah.
Definitely. How about you? Anything stand out?
Well, we checked out what else? Oh, Hamster Drop. I played a little bit of that. Was that Cupcake Critters? And the Saturday Morning RPG. We checked out Ridiculous Fishing.
I didn't know what to make of that game when I first saw it, but it's actually more fun than I thought it would be.
It is, yeah. I mean, fishing games are kind of, you know, the last time I played a fishing game was probably Activision Fishing. It was kind of fun.
It's exciting. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Girls Like Robots.
Saw that too.
That was kind of a cute game. That's also been out for a little bit now. I think under the Adult Swim label.
Yeah.
There's there's so much to see that you just can't spend that much time at every.
You try to keep moving.
Yeah.
I guess another game that we did see is we stopped in at Moonshot Games and we got a close look at Third Eye Crime, right?
Right, yeah. So Third Eye Crime, that's that overhead sort of VR mission, Metal Gear Solid type game. So we spoke to we had the guy talk about his games a little bit. So let's roll an interview with the guy from Moonshot Games.
Cool.
All right. So I'm here at Moonshot Games looking at Third Eye Crime, a new game for iOS.
Hi, my name is Christian from Moonshot Games, lead designer of Third Eye Crime. So Third Eye Crime is a sort of stealth puzzle game for iOS, coming out for iPad early June, shortly after for iPhone, later for PC, Mac, Android. And it's a kind of little stealth puzzle sort of thing set in a very gritty film noir world where you play Rothko, a art thief with telepathic powers. So the neat little thing is you can kind of go around these levels, evading guards, sneaking around things, stealing pieces of priceless art. And since you can tell with your telepathic powers where the guards are going to go, you can kind of use that to make sure you don't get caught. It's got a really neat, like deep jazzy soundtrack to it. It's got these kind of neat graphic novel style and film noir art to it. And yeah, everyone's been loving it here at the PAXEast Indie Showcase.
Is this your first game, or have you released some other titles before?
So Moonshot Games was founded by actually 3 Bungie alums a few years back. Originally, they were working on a XBLA title called Fallen Frontier and showed it 2 years ago at PAX East. Everyone loved it, but unfortunately, due to publisher troubles, it ended up not ever really coming out. So now, kind of moved over to something a little bit smaller and making this, this iOS title now with the film noir style.
Well, I'd like to thank you, and we look forward to it. So, guys, check it out. It should be coming out soon, and enjoy it. It should be great. All right, so that's another game coming for iOS. Yet another game.
Exciting.
And the one thing that was funny about a lot of the indie companies always made sure they would say, oh, it's coming out for iOS, and we're working on an Android version. So they don't want to leave out anyone.
It's still a market that they can't ignore. Yes.
But one thing you couldn't ignore was the near riot that almost went on at that PC Mag.
Yeah, CPU Magazine was doing a giveaway of a PC on Sunday, and collected quite a crowd. There were a lot of people there with raffle tickets hoping to win.
Yeah, I was really surprised how many people. So it overflowed. The people who run the floor, they kind of started freaking out. So we had to go to a bigger area, and so it was only one winner for this, big PC tower. So the funny part was the kid who won it was this kid with like a knapsack, and he had a bag in his hand of some merchandise that he got. So he's like, all right, you won, and they give him this huge like PC tower box.
Yeah, it was just all the parts.
It was all the parts. It wasn't like
it wasn't even an assembled PC. It's just here's all the new parts.
Here's all the new parts, and they start piling on like the keyboards, the video board,
right.
And I'm wondering, how is this kid gonna possibly carry any of this stuff?
Gonna have to call home for a ride, I guess.
And then a fight started breaking out, and these two kids looked like they were ready to punch each other. So it was
I don't know if they were just sore losers or if they were just.
I don't know what happened, but they
just got
right in front of us.
They rubbed each other the wrong way.
He looked like he was really close to punch him in the face.
Security stepped in.
Yeah,
pretty quickly.
Who knew it would be so dangerous?
Yeah.
To be at PAX East.
You never know.
These gamers. But yeah, there was some other cool things though with the computer. I'm not a big PC gamer, but I know you are, and we did stop at a few to check them out.
Yeah, so we got a closer look at the NVIDIA Shield, which was the new handheld that NVIDIA's.
Yeah, I was glad to test it out and see what it was like.
It was really lighter than I thought it would be. I thought it would have a little more heft to it.
It was.
The screen was decent quality. I'm not crazy about the design of the unit itself. I thought the sort of the aesthetics of it was a very busy looking controller with a flip up screen, and I don't know how sturdy it's going to be in use, but otherwise, I don't know. I'm still skeptical of the need for a device like this.
Yeah, I agree.
But I guess they're looking to make a splash with something different. I don't know.
Good luck to them.
Yeah.
The handheld market's always tough.
It is crowded. I guess there was another indie PC game there getting a lot of attention, Hawken.
Yeah, they had that really cool, humongous mech.
They had a big booth with a lot of, it looks like they've been getting a lot of funding for their production. So I guess they put some of the money into their booth.
There was the Dungeon Defender booth, which was also packed at Twitch TV. That had a huge crowd. I don't know what they were doing over there, but whatever it was, it was drawing a lot of people.
No shortage of attendees.
PopCap games, right? That was kind of fun. I like that, the look of that. I spent some time just hanging out over there. What else? Oh, I saw this. All right, so there was this, and there was this guy's booth, right? And I think he was selling books. But on his showcase, he had this plexiglass Pac-Man arcade, like custom built.
Yeah, it was like a clear
arcade machine. So of course that I see that from like down the aisle, and played pretty good actually. It was a little, the frame rate was a little off. I forget what was running it. He told me, but I don't remember. But I don't know what he was selling, but that that was,
got your attention. Though.
Got my attention. So that was pretty cool.
There was just a lot of weird, eye-catching things on the floor, and one of them, of course, was a booth that had like a lot of 3D printers in use.
Oh man, that was so cool! I've never seen a 3D printer before. So I felt like this is the future,
right?
Like in Tron when they're kind of like you're getting zapped and it goes scan line like. That's how the 3D printer works.
In reverse. It's like building objects like a layer at a time. Yeah, it's almost like it's creating like a real thing just before your eyes.
So
that booth, I think, was some kind of like Starship model builders.
Oh.
Either a program or a game or a society of builders. I'm not really sure even.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, they were using the 3D printers to create models of whatever ships they were creating.
Interesting.
I guess that's one thing you could do with it. There was like a lot of other activities going on.
There was music. They had a free play area for bands. They had a lot of chiptune acts. Then they had console rooms where you can play your games. They had an arcade.
Yeah. It was it was set up by American Classic Arcade Museum. They were running that.
Right.
And there was also the classic console free play areas that was being run by our good friends at Digital Press.
Yeah, that was well put together. That had a lot of people there too. The lines because it was a rental system. You can go there. They had all the consoles set up. You give them, I think, your ID or something.
Yeah.
And you can pick from a library of games, and then you take them and you sit down and you play.
Yeah, but then we also came away with some stuff, right?
Yes. Let's talk. Let's look at Stephanie's stuff. I would say let's look at Leon's loot, but we'll get to that after. Okay, so we all know when you go to these trade shows, you come home with a bag full of goodies. So I was a little conservative. I didn't want to overdo it. So I got this huge pile of postcards and posters. So one of them was this Dance Central Gears of War Halo Microsoft poster. And this one you had to actually... what'd you have to do? Play certain games, right?
You had to go through the floor and play different Microsoft games.
They gave you like different missions to do.
Yeah.
So that's how you had to get that poster. The DuckTales poster, that was from Capcom's booth, but you were supposed to wait online to play it. And I got kind of lucky and was able to get one without waiting online.
Yeah.
And then, your numerous postcards from different companies. Lots of fun stuff. Buttons, stickers. But this was one of some of the more interesting things I got. This is from Hamster Drop. The guys from Hamster Drop. So they had a tournament going all weekend where they were giving out these hamsters.
High score every hour.
High score every hour. And I tried like 3 times. I won the last contest. I got it right in at the last day, the last contest, the last hamster. So I was pretty psyched about this. And then my favorite one was, so there was a booth selling these little Nintendo cartridges. They're called Tendos.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Series 1. I think they make 12 in the series.
Sounds about right.
And then they have some, chase ones and variants.
No, this is a vinyl toy. This is not an actual game cartridge.
Are you sure? The guy told me it was a game cartridge. I paid
Have you tried
$120. I thought this was...
I mean, I don't have a curved Nintendo that can play a cartridge like that.
Yeah, you're right. It's a vinyl toy. But it's modeled to look like an old Nintendo.
Yeah. And
it comes with arms, feet. So, the graphics change depending on which one you have. And some of them are in gold. Those are the rare ones.
Mm-hmm.
But this is pretty cool. I know that the artists who are working on this, they're working on Series 2 right now. They're on Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to get enough funds to release a Series 2. So this was cool, but this wasn't the one I wanted. They actually make bigger ones of these, which are now out of print.
Uh-huh.
And I would have never thought I would have found it there, but I did. So I was pretty psyched about this. So Analog, Tendo. So this is the bigger version. This was the original to this. So I saw this on the last day. This was also like last minute. And it was just on the shelf. I don't know how I didn't see it before, but I asked the guy, and I guess he was kind of desperate to dump it. So he gave it to me for a lot less than what he was selling it for originally.
The Sunday deals.
I got it, yeah. I always wait till the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got my deal. So this was a good buy. And the box is a little worn, but it's good enough for me because he's probably going to come out of the box. So I was pretty happy about that.
Awesome.
How about you? Now let's see all your loot that you got.
Well, let's see. I mean, there were things that I was expecting to pick up that I did not get to pick up.
Like the DuckTales poster?
Like a DuckTales poster, which I got at the end anyway.
Yes.
However, I really wanted to get a hold of the PAX retro style T-shirt that was produced.
I know. What?
It was a cool looking shirt with like Atari 2600 styled graphics on the face of it, but I think that sold out on the first day.
Yeah, the first day, because Saturday morning we went to go get the PAX shirts and they were gone.
Gonzo. I should know better. But
amazing.
Yeah. Let's see. Definitely.
You did get a T-shirt.
I did get an NVIDIA Shield T-shirt. Yes.
Which was pretty cool.
For sampling that.
Yeah,
out.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was cool.
It wasn't your size, but hey.
They have to make it for gamer physiques.
That's right.
So let's be real. Double XL and up.
Yeah.
I was gonna get the ThinkGeek Portal 2 Special Edition turret that they had, but I guess I waffled on that too long.
Well, you did have it in your hands a couple of times.
Yeah.
And you did my technique of waiting to the last minute.
It didn't work out.
For you, it did not work out.
It worked out. It had the opposite result.
They were wiped clean.
They were gone by the end.
And they had big stacks of them too.
Yeah, they had plenty. Well, I wasn't sure about it initially, and then I kind of convinced myself that I wanted it as the day was going on, and while I was convincing myself, other people were buying them up.
When you always want something that you can't get.
Yeah. So I settled on getting one of the blind box versions of the turret.
Well, you kind of didn't know it was the blind box. You thought it was.
I thought it was one of the electronic ones.
Yeah. And you thought you were getting a good deal.
It was $6 instead of $10.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, score.
Yeah, so I figured, well, all right, let me at least come away with something. And I looked at the designs on the back, and I said, all right, well, maybe the only really good one here is the bullseye design.
Yeah, what is there? There's 10 designs or something?
There's like 20 different ones.
Okay.
And you called it before I opened it even.
I picked the design, right? Without even you
apparently
opening.
You did.
Break it.
So we did get the bullseye model.
Show them how it walks.
It doesn't walk. This is it. This is what it does. This is the in-action figure. You've heard of action figures. This is an inaction.
Yeah, 0 points of articulation.
Exactly.
But it was still cool. I thought that out of all of them, that was the best portal turret.
Right. And you know, I guess I'll continue my turret quest somewhere else.
Yeah, they're still available. You just have to order them online. Not the black one though. You lost out.
Well, I wasn't sure about it.
That was a
anyway.
one-shot deal.
Yeah.
You didn't want the Minecraft axe, the golden axe.
Not a Minecraft player.
Kids did though.
It's fun for some people.
So let's see the rest of your loot. Where is it?
That's kind of it.
That's it?
That's it.
Come on.
That's really it.
3 days in Boston and that's all you got?
I filled my time with good times instead.
Okay.
I guess the only other item that I was looking to get was a backlit GBA, which somebody had for $40, and I was hoping to go lower.
You're not talking about that pink GBA. Why would you want a pink GBA?
I just wanted to use the parts and replace the case. But
okay.
I wanted to upgrade one of my
So
old
I kind of
GBAs.
talked you out of that one, because I said, don't give him the money. I said, let's wait till the last minute when he's desperate to sell it. And who knew someone else would buy a pink GBA?
Maybe he got it for less, too.
It's a Saturday night was the Retro Roadshow?
Yep, Retrogame Roadshow.
So, describe... You've seen a couple of them already. This was my first one.
Yeah, so basically it's people bring video game related items up to a panel of experts to gauge their value. Basically people might think they might have something rare or hard to get, and they want to know what it's worth. So I think we have maybe a clip from that, right?
Yeah, you're probably looking at something in the range of like, it's greatest hits, it's a big crack in it probably, but it is Final Fantasy VII. Now, if you get yourself a sealed greatest hits, Final Fantasy VIII or Final Fantasy IX or Chrono Cross or whatever, more recent games, and you get stars in your eyes because you're like, I got a sealed Square game, guess what? You can buy those on Square Enix's website right now for like $20 because they made a lot of them. Final Fantasy VII, harder to find.
Well, I think they made a lot of it, especially the greatest.
They did,
but it has quite a cult following.
You're right. In this case, it's not supply; it's actually demand. Yeah. Somewhere in the $75 range, probably at the absolute
If anyone wants
best.
to buy it, I'll sell it for $40.
What?
Right now.
Any takers?
I'll buy any takers. You buy it for $40? All right. You got $40 cash? That's all you want. Here we go.
What was that about not touching the seat?
Retrogaming Roadshow first. One of the panelists finally buys an item.
Sold this. I'll tell you how much I paid for it. $4.
All right.
Okay, so the funny part was that right afterwards, we all went out in the hallway to meet. And it was like less than 5 minutes that Joe, the guy who bought the Final Fantasy off the kid for $40,
Yep.
he resold that game for almost twice as much. Like not even 5 minutes after they walked out the door.
Somebody really wants it.
It was hysterical. That's how you make a deal.
It's a skill that I have yet to master.
Were you impressed by any of the items that they showed off, or?
I didn't really. There were a lot of Nintendo era games that I didn't have
Super
any
Nintendo and Nintendo.
particular connection to. So
Yeah.
for me, it wasn't a
It was
a
fun,
big
though.
draw. But I enjoy seeing that kind of thing too.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to see what people have and what they dare to bring to a trade show like that. But so let me ask you a question here. If you did have to go on this show, because we were able to go if you wanted to, they were taking anyone out of the audience. What would you have brought like next time if you were going to go?
Well,
Like, do you have that one item in your collection that maybe you want to get appraised and by an expert?
the only item really that I think would even come close to matching some of those is probably my most valuable game, which I think at this point is probably Magical Chase for the TurboGrafx 16. The US version of that game. It was one of the last games to come out for the TurboGrafx, and it was only available via mail order.
Yeah, but you opened it up and played with it.
Sure. That doesn't diminish its value.
So now it's used, so you get maybe $10 for it.
Maybe it's not sealed.
To use TurboGrafx games, who would want something like that?
Well, that's what the experts will determine. I mean, that's why we have people that we can go to ask, what is this really worth? I know that the game, as of a few years ago, was worth upwards of $1,500. Not bad for a game that I bought for $35.
$3,500?
$35. Oh. So that's my pick. That's what I would bring to have appraised.
Yeah, I would probably handcuff that to your wrist. As soon as you pull that out, people would go nuts. But for me, what I would bring, I mean, I kind of know what the value is on most of my stuff. I don't have anything. I don't have that rare, gold cartridge that's worth 10 grand.
Right.
But I do have a lot of kind of oddball press materials and things from game companies from the early 80s, newsletters, stuff that were probably not that common. I really don't know if they have any value at all. So that's probably something I would bring to one of these roadshows and see what they think of, I have a magazine collection of first issues of electronic games and things like that. So that's probably what my choice would be.
That's pretty cool, though. I like seeing historical stuff like that.
It's kind of fun. Yeah, it may not be everyone's first choice, to collect. But,
right.
I just never threw out anything, so I have piles and stacks of posters of games and things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I guess this is just like a little snapshot of PAX. I mean,
I mean, you can. Every site's covering PAX, so
this was just our kind of impression of it.
Yeah. And overall, I loved it. So I would hope I can go back again next year. And don't know. What more can I say?
I guess that's all we have for now.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Till next PAX.